Picture this: a wall of fog across an iron-gray fjord, the shriek of gulls, the creak of oars, and then a war drum roared. On the horizon, dragon sails, not merchants, something worse. But among those warriors some stood apart, and this is their verse. The word itself, berserker, from the Old Norse tongue of old, means bear shirt or bear of armor, as the scholars have been told. Two meanings, one great mystery. A warrior stripped of mail, no coward and no pauper, but a beast beyond the pale. They charged without their shields, like wolves or bears gone mad. They bit the rim of their own shields, the only blade they had. Like bears in battle, like wild bulls, unstoppable, untamed. Not fire, not iron could stop them, and history has them named. So wrote the chronicler, Snorri Sturluson, 13th century's hand, who gathered northern legend into sagas, strand by strand. His Ynglinga saga gave us the first true portrait of these men, part myth, part brutal history, but the world had heard of them by then. The very first to write the word was the skald, Thorbjorn Hornklofi, in a poem of Harold's victory. The sea red, the shields all broken free. At the Battle of Hafrsfjord, around 872, Norway was born as a nation, and the Berserkers were there, in full view. Harald Fairhair, first king of all the Norse from coast to coast, handpicked his finest warriors, the ones who fought the most. On the prows of dragon ships he placed his chosen few, those sworn to Odin, consecrated, lethal through and through. They roared and foamed, bit every shield, and hurled themselves at foes. They felt no pain from spear or blade, the battle fury grows. When victory was finally theirs, they crashed like fallen trees. Not dead, just empty, hollow men, brought trembling to their knees. After the battle near Stavanger, they slept for more than a day. The price of their terrifying power, the debt they had to pay. That's the cost of the frenzy. That's the price of the beast within. Berserkers owned the battlefield, but only till the furies spin. Berserkers were the elite of the Hirth, the king's own chosen guard. Not ragged, mindless savages, the image later marred. The Hollywood-style madman in a bear skin, wild and bare, is more legend than hard history. Handle it with care. They fell into a battle trance, what sagas called the battle rage. Foam at the mouth, a roar like thunder, eyes that burned like a sage. A berserker could pull a spear clean out of his own side and hurl it back at the enemy, without a flinch, with pride. Beside them stood the Ulfhethner, the Wolfheads, brotherkin. Whether separate cults or one same force, the sagas differ within. But one thing clear for both of them, they were the tools of war, not built for peace or family, but built to cut and gore. Now let's get to the juicy part, the mushrooms. Yes, that tale. You've heard it all before. They ate fly agaric without fail. But modern scholarship has cast a long and skeptic eye. Much of what we know of berserkers is built on guesswork high. Some scholars argued henbane was the secret, not the shroom. Phytotoxicologists have since debated in the room. But not a single saga ever says they ate a thing. The drug theory is seductive, but lacks the smoking ring. More likely it was psychology, a certain type of mind, battle rage as practiced skill, a trance of rarest kind. We'd call it dissociation in the modern clinic's hall. And every army in all ages has been searching for that call. But power doesn't last forever. Even beasts learn this. In the family sagas, berserkers are no longer heroes. Something's amiss. The question left unanswered, how do you live in peace? They'd raid the halls, they'd take by force, and justice found no lease. The heroes of these later tales aren't the berserkers. No, it's the clever Icelander with a club who steals the show. Because iron couldn't touch them, so you struck them differently. The legend of the untouchable was crumbling visibly. Christianity swept the north. New laws, a new age came. In 1013, Norway banished them, and that was the end of fame. In 1123, Iceland sealed it with a law. Caught in berserk fury, 3 years exile, nothing more. The breaking of the war bands, the coming of the cross, centralizing kingdoms, all added to the loss. They knew no trade but warfare, so they turned to crime instead, until the law caught up with them and struck them down for dead. 1,000 years have passed, yet still the word lives on. In video games, in novels, films, the Berserker's never gone. He bursts out from the darkness as the image of pure rage, a primal, awful power, written on the age. Perhaps they feast in Odin's hall right now, beyond our sight, and laugh at every scholar who attempts to get them right. Because the mystery isn't solved, not one question laid to rest. The Berserker stays an enigma, and perhaps that's for the best. So, a Berserker is not just a warrior. He's a symbol of the line between the man and animal, between shadow and divine. Elite upon the battlefield, a terror in the town. A saga's hero and its villain, wearing the same crown. History is never black and white. Legends don't tell all. But truth is never boring, and fury has its call. Hit like, subscribe, and stay. There's so much more to tell of those who shaped the world and those whom history fell.